Hi everyone, welcome to another Gaffering Gear. Today we're going to be looking at the Air Tube, which is a inflatable soft light solution for your LED tube systems. Alright, so let's have a look at what you get in a kit and do a bit of a run through on how to use it. Alright, so the first thing to point out is these work with your existing tube systems. So they're a bit like a diffusion bag that you put on the front, okay, except they inflate. So they're for your existing light systems. They don't actually have any light inside them. Now the company I think that's pronounced Calgary. So if you go to their website, calgary.com, you can find all of their pricing. Now these do come in different lengths. So the smallest length is 60 centimeters, so that's 1.96 feet. And the longest one is a whopping 8.35 meters, which is 27.39 feet. So that's a serious bit of length. Personally, what I would like to have is a couple of the Air Tube 400s, which are 4.1 meters. That would be a good length for me, particularly for car shoots and things like that. That's 13.45 feet. All right, so let's go through the bag. So the first thing that you want to do is read the instruction manual. The instruction manual is really well laid out, lots of easy to understand pictures, even I can understand it, so definitely have a read of that. And it's also got some handy information that you need to read before you inflate the tube, such as the maximum PSI that you should have your air compressor set to if you're going to use an air compressor. So you don't want to blow the thing up, right? So read the instruction manual, save you a bit of money. All right, so let's go through what we get in the front pouch here. We get some Velcro straps. We'll go through those in a minute. And here's something I love. We get spare straps, all right, because these are going to get lost on rentals. There's some spares as well, so that should last a good 5 or 6 years before someone loses all of those. Okay, we get a bit of backing material. So this is to conceal the tube. We'll go through that a bit later. And we get two skirts, okay, to control our light. So two skirts that just Velcro to the side. So we'll go through those in a minute. Okay, let's pull out the air tube. Now I would suggest keeping the cylinder that it's supplied in wrapped. You can keep all your other bits and pieces inside the cylinder, but I'd suggest rolling it up instead of folding it, because if you fold it, what's going to happen where you fold it over a period of time, you're going to create a weak point, okay, and that could lead to the thing leaking. All right, so you don't want that to happen. All right, so let's go through the construction here. So the outside of the bag is like a Ultra Bounce, so it's black on the outside and white on the inside, and it's made from a grid cloth stitching, so it's not going to rip or tear. Then inside the bag, inside here, you've got your clear bag that inflates. Okay, so that's the bit that blows up. And on the front, we've got our diffusion, which is actually magic cloth. Okay, so the thing's all made of decent film industry grade material. And we've got some rigging points on the sides if we need some additional mounting. Now on the end here, you've got your valves. So it's the same as, say, a good blow-up mattress. Okay, so you've got your larger unlock there to let the air out, and you've got your smaller locker on top, which has a one-way valve for inflating. So pretty much just like a blow-up mattress. All right, so let's get into using this now. All right, so what they suggest you do in the instruction manual is use your tube with your rigging and put that onto the bag with it deflated. Okay, and then use your Velcro straps to mount the bag to the tube. Now, if you inflate the bag and then mount the tube doesn't stick to the bag that well, okay, because you've got the tube sitting on top of the bag. But if you have the bag mounted to the tube and then inflate it, the tube is embedded in the bag a little bit, so you can tilt it and nothing slips. So very important reason to read the instruction manual, because I did it the other way around when I first got it and it didn't stick to the tube. Now if you're inflating it manually, so blowing it up, I would suggest through my own practice, blow it up most of the way without the tube attached, and then attach the tube and then blow it up the rest of the way, because it's very awkward to hold if you've got the tube mounted to a deflated bag. Okay, so there we go. I've got the tube Velcroed into place. Now I'm going to use my air compressor, and just to be safe, I've got my air compressor set to 50 psi out. I think 72 psi is the rating that the bag can take. And let's inflate. And there we go, we're done. All right, so that's your basic sort of inflation done. All right, let's have a look. And there we are. All right, so that's our very basic sort of setup. Now, if you're not happy with the spill light coming out the back, you can use that skirt, that top mount that came with it. All right, so this top mount, it's actually two pieces. All right, so that you can have your mount coming through the middle of this. All right, so let's put it on. So everything's just Velcro. Now with this sort of top skirt, I don't know what to call it, the top skirt or the cover. One thing to bear in mind is on a hot day, you might be trapping some heat in with your tube. So the Astero tubes might not like that. I don't really think you'd need this unless you're in a really dark room and you don't want any spill light. Okay, and now we've got no spill light coming out of the top. Okay, so that's great. Now just something that's worth noting is if I rig it out, say like that, it's not going to roll. Okay, but if I did inflate it and then mount the tube to it, it would all slip and roll. So it's not gonna slip. All right, so let's pop this into a C-stand now, and we'll have a quick look at the skirts. Now I'll put on the skirt that's closest to camera. And it literally just Velcros on. So very simple. Now, of course, one negative with this is you can't use, say, something like a snap grid. Okay, you can only really skirt it if it's pointing directly down. All right, let's fire this up now and have a look. Okay, and I've got the, as you can see, I've got the light skirted off the camera, but still hitting me. Now, one thing to point out here again, too, is I'll take the skirt off. It is stable enough, the way it's assembled, that I can rig the arm and point the tube more towards me. Okay, that's not going to slip or slide. So, you know, very good system. Now, if you want more firepower, you can mount two tubes into the unit, but I would suggest using additional strapping. Now, even with two tubes, this is an extremely lightweight unit that you can use for handheld lighting. Now, in terms of this thing keeping its shape, I've left it inflated in the workshop for a little bit over a week, and I only needed a bit of topping up. So you could put this into your lighting grid knowing that it's going to stay inflated for at least a week. All right, let's get into some stats. Now, to give us a reference, I took a reading off a Titan tube at a distance of 1 meter. Set to 25 frames per second at a 1/50th of a second shutter at an ISO 800, it came to f4 and 9/10, or 605 lux. Now through the air tube at a distance of 1 meter, that fell to f2.8 and 8/10, or 279 lux. When I put two tubes into the air tube, I got f4 and 7/10, or 470 lux. Now in terms of color shift, the unit is unbelievably neutral. I only got a color shift of 40 Kelvin. Now, I just better point out, you can run other tubes through this system as well. I've currently got a Nanlite Pavo tube hooked up to the back of this. I'm Andrew Locke. See you on the next episode of Gaffering Gear.